everybody. This is Paul Herman, the Prince of Motivation, and also the host of Zaka Presents My Journey. We're creating this vulnerable and positive platform where you can get inspired and motivated from different leaders from our community. Today, our guest is Dior Cisse, who is the founder of Dad Financial Pathways. Dior, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for
That's
having me.
right. Come on, lights, camera, action. The stage is yours right now. We are ready to dive in and talk about all the greatness and the journey that you've been on. But more importantly, obviously, we're going to get into the Dad Financial Pathways. But before we get into all of that, do me a favor, and the listeners a favor. Just let us know your cultural background and where you grew up.
Yes, it will be a pleasure. So I am from West Africa, between Mauritania and Senegal. But my life is in Senegal, so that's the only one I relate to. And lived there until I was 14 years old. Um,
Mm,
Now I say that I lived here in the States longer than I have in Senegal,
that's great. That's crazy.
than my home country. So there I lived with my sisters. Why? Because my mom left to come to the United States to immigrate when I was about 7 years old. When I was seven. So when I came here, um, before, okay, let me go back a little bit. In Senegal, I was until I was from 7 to 14. I was living with my sisters, and it was they raised me. My sisters raised me. It is with them that who I know, and my father was there. Of course, we are going to school as a 7-year old to 14. That's what you're expected to do,
That is true.
go to school. And then, of course, when the mom is not there, she used to call. Back in the days, I think they had to go here in the United States, not knowing. She would call. All I know was like, hey, you have to come answer the phone because mom is about to hang up or she doesn't have enough minutes, right?
Oh yeah, the calling cards.
The calling cards, the calling cards. So we would talk to her. She would call every day. She would say, I am at work, going to work. That's all. When we talk to her, she's like, either I'm leaving work or I'm headed to work. So that then we were like, mom is always working. And then we go to school, we come home, right? That's what we did basically. Of course, had the friends and lived the culture in Senegal because I was there until I was 14. And then I can say I grew up there, but I grew up here too.
Hmm. Now,
Why?
the Senegal life, right? And I want to kind of talk a little bit more about that. But um, you're bringing me to something right now. I remember when you said Senegal, I was like, oh, you know what?
Mhm.
Dakar is there, right?
I am from
Yes.
Dakar. You
I
got
I
it?
was supposed to travel to, was still in the process of traveling to Dakar or somewhere in Senegal near Dakar to go teach dance to a
Wow,
studio out there. So when
that
you
is
said
amazing.
Senegal, they were sending me a lot of videos and pictures of the country and
Mhm.
everything. They're like, look, it's so beautiful out here, right? So if you could do me a favor, just kind of just express a little bit more about the life growing up in Senegal.
Senegal. When you hear Senegal, I'm going to speak from my perspective, in my view. When you hear Senegal, the first thing that comes to mind is we call teranga. It's called the country of teranga. Teranga means hospitality.
Hmm.
That's what we are known for. We don't call our neighbors neighbors, they're family.
Okay.
When it's lunchtime, I go knock on the next door neighbor and I sit, all of us, 8 of us, in one bowl and we eat together.
Hmm.
Your neighbors are not strangers. No one is a stranger in Senegal. That's the main thing, hospitality. When someone needs something, you can get it anywhere, right? Let me not talk to you about the Atlantic Ocean now. That is the best part of it. The blue water is
Yeah. Come
everywhere
on.
in Dakar because it's a almost island, right? All
Yeah.
three sides are covered by water.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere you drive by, the water is there. So how does that make us feel? When you go to Senegal or when you're in Senegal, everyone is happy. It's just the vibe you get. Everyone is smiling. Everyone is on the streets making tea, drinking tea, laughing, and talking to each other. But then, so when I go for vacation or when I go to visit, And everything that we live here in the United States, I asked them like, wow, this is how I grew up.
Mm,
And it is still there till today. It's the
amazing.
togetherness. That is what Senegal is about, for
Mm.
sure.
And how would you describe the culture?
Culture, giving.
Okay.
Giving, the hospitality is embedded in us. It is within us. It's giving, sharing, togetherness. That is the culture of Senegal. It's respect to your elders.
Okay.
Um, your family, that's who you have, but then everyone else is also family. Include them, live with them. I will tell you to that point, like we have different type of languages, right? But then everyone speaks the Wolof, the native language. Everyone can understand each other. Just to tell you, the culture of Senegal is together,
Mm.
hospitality, giving, and sharing. That's the vibe we get.
And did you feel that way when you came to the States? I mean, you came here, you said 14, right?
Correct.
Did you feel that same type of connection and community? I know that obviously, wait, first and foremost, where did you go to first when you came here to the States?
I landed in New York
Okay, New York. So
City.
Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx.
Don't tell me I remember now. I think it was Harlem because I
Oh,
had
Harlem.
to.
Oh, you was with the
I,
Harlem.
I
Okay.
believe is 116th Street. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
you was Harlem. You was Harlem. You was in Harlem world. Yeah, he's in Harlem.
Yeah,
So okay, Harlem got some stripes.
JFK. Yep, JFK to Harlem to 116 because it was lunchtime and me and my sister we came together to join my mother. So we had to go to the African restaurant, the Senegalese restaurant there. So that's where we went and ate. So it was New York, and then because my mom used to live in New York, but she moved to Cincinnati. We come to join her. We moved from New York to Cincinnati. It was a
Mm,
couple of hours in New York, I would say, because
yep,
we had to get in those taxis to
yep.
drive us, I think, 8 hours down to Cincinnati.
Mm. And talk to us a little bit about that journey, coming here to the States. Like, what inspired you to move? Like, what was the biggest um, dream or goal when you were arriving? I mean, 14, you're of age, right? In a sense where you have an understanding of life and like what life could actually offer you. Granted, you're still a child, but a lot of the thought leaders that have been on the show have expressed about how they had to grow up a little faster because they had siblings or because of the life that they were going to be living in the States. So, what was that journey like for you?
I can attest to that growing faster. It didn't even start when I arrived in the United States. I had to grow up faster, right? Because again, as I mentioned, I grew up with my sisters. So I was 10, but I was with my sister who was 16 or 17. So I would behave and expect and have expectations as someone who's 16.
From
So coming in, that's what I had in mind. For me, that question I say is different because for a 14-year-old in Dakar, chauffeur, best house, best schools, private schools, my mind was not into traveling. But for my mother, it was a must. She was like, you have to bring the kids over.
yeah.
Every
So,
year for 5 years, she was not giving up. The kids have to come join me. You know how African mothers
oh
do.
my,
We have to, but so that's the reason. That is my reason of coming to the United States. The reasons why she would express to us that we have to come join her was there was better opportunities here, right? She said you can finish your schooling, you can go to college. She used to describe all these dreams, maybe that she had her own self, right? So when I came, yes, I had to grow up faster. And even when we got to Cincinnati and my mom there, right? I had to start right away. There was
Mm,
no break in between.
I can see that.
I had to go. My mom wasn't waiting. As soon as we got there, she said, okay, because it was in March. You have to register for school. Right
Yeah,
now, we're in the middle of school. She said, you have to go to school. It wasn't even an option or a choice because
yeah,
back home, I was hearing that people are here making money and there's earnings, high earnings here. And then she's like, no, you have to go to school when you get here. Um, so she enrolled me in high school. Started high school. As soon as I got here, I got into ninth grade. Um, and that was my culture shock when
when you were in high school.
yes, in high school.
I mean, there's a lot of things that goes on. There's a lot of bullying as well too. There's a lot of different thought processes and how people want to perceive and think about themselves. So it can get a
Yes.
little crazy at times. I think when you go to
Yeah.
college, it can still the same thing, but for the most part, people are like, I stay in my lane. This is what I do. That's it. But high school, it feels like crabs in a bucket.
Yes, because imagine it's a bunch of teenagers in
Yeah.
one enclosed. So when I first got there, I was enrolled in a university high school. It's like a boarding school, right, in Cincinnati, but it wasn't. And then it was so far
Mm.
away. This is the shock. I had to ride buses and buses to get to school
Oh
because, again,
God.
remember, back home, I had a chauffeur in my house. Get ready, have your breakfast, let's go.
Yeah.
So I'm
The,
like,
the
what
life the
is
lifestyle
this?
changes real quick.
Lifestyle change. So I'm like, okay, you have to do it. Mom says you do it. We ride the bus. So she would first drop us at the bus stop. We ride one bus, ride a second bus just to make it to school. Okay. But then I started that university type of boarding school, and I'm like, this is very different. Very different from where I left. Um, Everyone was their own. And there was no helping each other, there was nothing. So then after I finished that I was there for a couple of months. School ended. The next school year I went to my assigned school for our neighborhood. That's where I started and that's where I graduated, right? And again, this is teenager years, we have to remember that
Yeah.
they can be
Oh
mean.
no. A lot of our thought leaders said the same thing.
They
We
have
coming from a different country, and people, if you think about it as well too, back then, social media wasn't as popping as it is now, right? So the answers that people would have easily found out, could easily find out today, you know, they
True.
have to, it's word of mouth. Oh,
True.
everyone in Africa is poor, right? You're like, no, it's not.
That's it.
Say
You
Senegal is a
got
beautiful
it.
place. Or everyone eats out of a bowl,
The
and
whole continent.
yeah, you can be like, what? But again, that's
Mm,
ignorant people at times, not taking the time to really, you know, think before they say, or even
learn.
if you don't know, just ask the question. Because, hey, look, I'm not from Africa, but hey, look, tell me a little bit more about Senegal. And that's something here at the Zaka platform that we really want to do is that really just highlight how beautiful these countries are and these places are. Some of our some of our previous thought leaders that have come on
Mhm.
have expressed about like Haiti, for example, and how beautiful the rich the land is.
So
You know,
beautiful.
but when you
Mhm.
look at it in the media and you type in Haiti, there's all these negative comments that come up, but
That's
not the beautiful things about Haiti. But again, that's
exactly.
society and how the way the world works. But there's individuals like yourself that come directly from Senegal that know what the beauties of Dakar and like you said, the water, three sides covered by water, blue water to be
Yes.
exact, stuff that you would probably
Yes.
find in the Caribbean,
That's the Caribbean.
right? So I'm glad you're sharing some light on it because it needs that. It needs more individuals like yourself telling their stories and really letting people know what that really feels like. You know what I'm saying? And knows
Very
what it looks
true.
like. So thank you
Hmm.
again for expressing like the culture of Senegal and the fact that it's community based. Everyone's a neighbor, but they're not a neighbor. They're actually family.
Okay.
Eating together. Like someone listening to this might be like, well, you know what? I want to experience that. Well, they might be booking a flight to Senegal
That's so true, as they should. Give it a try.
because of you. Now, when you're looking at your story, right, and your journey, right, what were like some of the first financial challenges that you encountered when moving here, right? Because obviously you're 14, your mom is like, you got to go to school, but then also at the same time, you might have to start working, right, to financially start bringing in some money and income to the family. Like, how'd you navigate through that?
Yes, the financial part, I would say you wouldn't even feel it as much while going through high school, right? And then into college. When in the middle of that, let's remember, we are immigrants and we have legal statuses.
Yep,
We
yep,
do.
yep.
So that was on the way. You couldn't work while until I received my legal status granted from my mom. So that was on the way right there.
Okay.
I wanted to help my mother, paid for the mortgage, right? She worked two jobs. She was working
Mm,
hours and hours, and she was getting older, right? I'm like, I want to help my mother, but I am not able to yet, right? Had to
yeah,
wait it out. Once I received it, yes, what do you do? At that point, I know you've said financial challenges, but even prior to that, you're like guidance. Okay, I have received my legal documents now. It's here. What do I do? Where
yeah,
do I go?
yeah, yeah, yeah. What's the first step?
First thing, the usual is mom telling you, right? What mom knows is let's go earn money. What I first did was what do you call it? Hair braiding. I started doing African hair braiding, having
Okay.
an earning. And then it's after that I'm like, oh, okay. I think I did that for several years, and then I have to find something to take me out of that because it was long, 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 long hours, right?
Up on your feet, using your hands.
Yes, yes. And then you have to go through that, and then go through college. And then while in college, the financial challenges there, right?
True.
Um, and I would say for me, why it's kind of, I would say it's different because my path or my journey is not the standard, I would say, or what everybody got used to. Because I got married early on in my life, and then I got pregnant while I was in senior, and then had a baby. So
Okay.
I had my own family before I made it to college. So financial started right there. So to answer the question though, I would say I spoke about this on LinkedIn, right? The one that hit me the most was the time I only had $1.90. When you talk about culture shock,
And did you say a dollar
listen to
ninety?
$1.90, $1.90. Culture shock. I had no idea, right? So I had a baby. The baby was in the back seat, in her car seat. And then I didn't know. I mean, I'm different. It's different. The culture is different. I don't know. I need gas in my car to make it to work the next
Yeah.
day. And I only have $1.90. So I'm like, okay, I will go ahead and buy gas for $1.90. I just walked up to the counter and I said, give me gas on pump five. And then he was like,
Mm,
what? We can only sell gas at the gas price. We cannot sell, let's say the gas price back then was $2.15.
yep.
We can't sell anything less than that. I didn't know. And then that was the day.
That was a wake up
Oh,
call.
yes.
I mean, hey, I would wake up on that too, because you're like, why am I always running on E? You only put a dollar ninety in your tank. Wow, wow.
That
That is a first. But you know
that
what? You are
yeah.
100% right. You, no one's telling you, and it's something as simple as pumping gas. We're not talking about studying for the SAT or learning how to get a graduate degree from a university. We're talking about pumping gas, and you're walking in there with exactly $1.90, giving it to the person saying you put it on pump one, and they're looking at you like, "Where's that going to take you?" But to you, you were like, "I guess that's what I got to do."
That's what I had to do. It
Wow.
was what it took. And we have to remember, this is
Oh
the
wow.
This is the girl or the girl, the woman that came here when she was 14. And back home, she had everything. It was everything was there. Comfort to the top that you can imagine. It was comfortable back home, right? You never had to think about
Well, you
anything.
said like chauffeurs driving you around, so that's
There.
pretty. That was definitely no 190 right there.
That's right. So then now you are here and you can't even put gas in your
Yeah,
car.
that's that
Um,
wake up call.
yes, I talk about that I talk about this story because it was my rock bottom. It was, as you just said, my wake-up call. Back then, I knew right away, Paul, something had to change. Something. Something had to change. I couldn't live that way any longer. Not for me,
Yeah, nah, so
for my kid.
yeah, I think once you start having thoughts of having a child or even having a child, like that's even a bigger wake up call because now you're like, it worked for me, but it might not work for this little person right here. Wow.
Exactly that. And so what happened? What do you do? What did I do? At that time, I went back home. We had the piggy bank.
Yeah.
I Yeah, so before that though, I had to ask at the gas station, can I have like $1 more so I can put 1 gallon? And I got a lot of no's. They were looking at me like, what? $1. I was asking for $1. And over 7 people said no. And I just kept asking until I got an extra dollar to put gas so I can move because the car wasn't going anymore. Right. So I got home, got the piggy bank, got the coins,
Come on.
all that. You got to know how to get around from it.
Yeah.
After that, once that was over, the night was over, I'm like, okay, there's something I have to do. Let me tell you. But before then, I had these genuine relationships, right? I had already built great relationships with great people. Um,
Okay.
that today I call them friends, right? And it wasn't just, oh, hi, hey, everyday text here. No, I kept it nurtured, right? Not knowing that one day I will come to them for help. I would never imagine that that day would come,
Hmm.
but it did.
Hmm.
It was two friends who changed my life till today. What they did, the yes that they said, they took funds, not loaned me, but gave it to me for free
Wow. Wow. Wow.
out of their hearts, thousands of dollars that I took and invested. And the rest is history.
But yeah, we got to keep in mind, like obviously you're putting yourself in a situation where people see the true talent in you, the gift in you. And people will invest, like a coach, they will invest in their students, they will invest in their athletes if they see something. So you kudos to your friends as well for giving you that opportunity, but kudos to you for letting them see the light in you, right? Because they could have been like, yeah, she's cool. Yeah, she's cool, right? But they were like, hold up, there's something going on over here, and we could probably help. And to help in ways like that, like when someone gives themselves that opportunity to truly help somebody in need, that's I think that's one of the biggest gifts
It is.
we could ask for. You know,
Yes.
so the thought that you were going through those hardships, you would like you went around to 7 places trying to fill up a tank, only at $1. Like that, like we look at it like a lot of people probably listening on this podcast, they're probably saying, "Oh, I fill up $60 in my tank." You were scrambling to put $1 in, and like
That's all
where was the dollar gonna truly take you, right? Like,
true.
it, unless you had a small tank, you had like a Mini Cooper, you had a Mini Cooper or something, right? But it's the thought process, but you were determined to fill up that tank and to fulfill your life, right? You didn't look at it like, oh my gosh, I only got $1 and nothing's working for me. You were like, no, I got $1 and this is what it is right now, but it doesn't mean this is going to be for my life. And I think your friends saw that hunger in you and that passion in you, and you probably took the opportunity to kind of say, look, I'm looking for help. I need help. And they said, you know what? We're here for you. So congratulations on that, because I know you said that story in a very small way, but I know
There is
that
so much
it's
more.
so deep, deep, right? Deep, where you're like, and when
Amazing.
you're at that last dollar, where you're like, oh my gosh, I only have $1. But then someone says, I want to help you. It's like,
That's right.
yeah, you just
It's
melted away. You
so
were
much.
like, me? You want to help me? I only got $1 to my name. And you're like, we don't even care, girl. We
That's
just want to
right.
help. That's an amazing thing.
That's
And
right.
it brings me to that next question where I want to kind of talk about, like, obviously as an immigrant, like there's a lot of immigrants that migrate to the United States, and when they come here, they just don't understand the financial system. They don't understand the financial structure. You know, they don't even understand credit scores, banking, taxes, right? Loans.
Mhm. Mhm.
What were like some of the learning curves for you? Like, what did you wish that you knew earlier?
Yes. This is everything you just asked is the exact reason why I started my business, that financial pathway. Um, because when I got here, I had no idea, as we talked about,
True.
lack of knowledge. Who guides me? Who will show me the way? That was missing, right? I did not understand and felt like I did not have the help I needed,
And your
right?
mom is too busy working 2 jobs to really sit you down and be like, "Hey, look, this is the pathway," because she was still trying to find her own path
Her own path. Not
as a
only that,
mother.
that's all. As a mother, and
As a
that's where
mother,
the story. The only thing was a mother that who has to provide to her 7 kids. That was her only goal.
yeah. She's
So
not thinking about
however she
anything
has
else.
to make that earning.
Yeah,
So that was beyond, that's all. So I couldn't, she couldn't show me or be there or guide me, right? Um, and then again, so joining my mom and her, she only had the same people around. It's all about your circle, don't
yeah,
we say,
100%.
right? So even going to her friends or some of her friends' kids, it was just this circle of same thoughts, same everything. It was really hard to break through that because I'm not sure, the African, the Senegalese culture, I would say is, oh no, you stay in it.
Oh Lord,
That is a big culture thing. You are part of this. You have to stay. Don't look. Don't try to know.
yeah,
Don't try to
I get
understand that
you. I
thing.
get you.
So, so to help someone, to get past the challenges that I just shared, right? Let's say not knowing how to go about it with your finances, that you only have $1.90 and you want to purchase a gallon, which is not possible.
Yeah, no,
They don't, I don't want those like people to go through those same hurdles that I did,
mm.
right? So from credit scores is another thing. When we come here, no one explained what credit scores were,
And the importance.
how important they are.
You're like, I'm trying to stop renting. I want to get a mortgage. Okay, cool. What's your credit score? What? You're
Yeah,
trying to buy yourself a car so you could actually drive to work. What's your credit score? Like
I
the
don't
things that you feel like you might need to help progress living in the
progress.
States, it's attached to 3 digits. And if those digits don't match up with what the bank wants or the person on the other side, the lender wants, you're really screwed. You are really screwed.
It takes understanding, Paul. You have to understand that. But for me, it was learning. I needed a car, as you said, and I went to get one, and they told me you don't have credit. None.
That's
We can't find you. You don't have any credit.
yeah. We're not, and they're not gonna take a risk.
Oh, they said, so you have cash. That was the second question.
Yeah, that's only in the U.S. where they would tell you no, we can't do the job. But just out of curiosity, you got cash?
Yes. Exactly. So right
I got
there,
a
it
dollar
was
ninety.
a learning curve.
Yeah,
I'm like credit scores. Then I had to research and I had to talk to my classmates, my teachers. This is what I tell. I don't close my research to the internet. I talk to people. I
yeah,
ask questions because it happens that I will hit someone who went through it,
yeah,
someone who knows exactly the details. But credit score is one thing. Banking, just understanding the difference between opening a credit union versus a traditional bank.
yeah. No, 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 no. The Roth accounts, I like. There's a lot of those things that,
Did
and
not.
our parents probably at that point in time didn't even know, right? They were like, "Let's just put money into the bank or put money underneath the bed." That was it.
That's
That
it.
was it.
Only
In a little shoebox in the closet, right? That was those. That was the shoebox was the bank, but it had no interest at that time.
Mhm.
The interest was the dust on the box. But that's what our parents would do. But it is a very hard thing as an immigrant coming here and not having that financial literacy to actually set yourself up, right? And you go into hardship and then you start to question, should I be here? Should this is this a great idea? People start to panic, anxiety, depression, mental health. All
Yeah.
these things start to kick in because it's that part of it is not being discussed. Yes, you need a green card. Okay, you got to go to the airport. You got to get top on a flight. You got to. Those are the common denominators. But when you start to talk about the things that like could really change your life,
Yes.
it's not being
School.
discussed. Like,
School. We talk about lots of us when we come or when we are there. We talk a lot about school or education. Let's just say it, not even school specifically, but just education.
yep,
But then we forgot about finances.
yeah.
That education needs to be financed. Can we talk about the student
There's an
loans?
application fee.
Application fee. And the list goes down. And just because I had to go through all of these, anything I mentioned here, I had to go through the help or the learning of even picking a major and what financial aid. I
Yeah,
have no clue.
yeah,
My mom couldn't help me. She was like, go, and then I had to go to the library.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
someone there helps me.
yeah.
So
That's
then today I can pass that on because I learned it.
but that's a good quality to have. Like you were like, I want help. Some people don't, especially in a lot of the thought leaders that came in and spoke
Mhm.
before you, they would say like, it was a pride thing, or I was nervous, or I was scared. I didn't speak the language. They didn't look like me. They didn't relate. So I never really asked for help. I had to kind of figure it out on my own. Nowadays, you could probably figure it out on YouTube, right? You could probably figure it out with Chat GBT
I
or
was like,
something along
AI.
those lines, or AI
Mhm.
generated stuff. But
Yeah.
back then, no, you got to ask questions. But again, closed mouths don't get fed.
Don't get
So
fed.
there was
And that's
something about
something,
that.
yeah, that is something that is so important. If we just look back or think about, even in high school, right? I had to ask for help because the worst time for me was lunchtime. Walking into that cafeteria,
Here we go.
I was the only Black and only African in my school.
Wow, wow,
In
wow.
3 years, the only one. And then senior year, someone joined me. Just imagine. There is a lot we don't have enough time here to talk about. But asking for help, I had to go to my ESL teacher, Paul, and say, can I please have lunch in your room? If I didn't ask, I would have never been able to skip or stay away from the bullying that was happening in the cafeteria.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Just to say, there you have to ask, you have to talk to those people. And I have seen it in my community, my Senegalese community, and in my clients today. Even my clients, I see that. What you said is so important that we have this thing. First thing is we don't want to share our problems.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be it'll be out there. We
yeah.
have all of these things we think about and we forget that there can be someone
That could
who
lend a
went
helping
through
hand.
what you did, who can understand. I think that outweighs everything else.
But you also got to listen. That is the thing. That is the key thing. This is where I'm always gonna big up the people that you're or commend the people that helped you, but you gotta remember, you had to listen. You had to show up for yourself. You had to want more for yourself, and you had to accept the fact that you want to change.
Absolutely. That comes first.
That right there, the commitment is where you got to right now, today. That's
It
why you were
takes
able
that.
to open your own business. You're able to be successful, and now you're able to share your story with other people. But you're right, and people just gotta understand. Like, look, the answers are out there. You just gotta, ask for it, or you might have to knock on a few doors first. But
Mhm.
being an immigrant coming here, you already have a lot of different things that are flowing through your head. Am I good enough? Do I speak the language? Do I dress like them? Do I talk like them?
A
So
lot.
trying to ask for more help when you're trying to figure out all it and navigate through all that, it's like, nah, I'm good. Let me just try
Unless
to
you
fit
go
in.
through it.
Yeah, that's right. Let me go try to fit in. What did you do to be? Were there any jobs that you did outside that were like to help you like financially get stable? Like when you were going through those hardships, you were talking about the $1.90 in your pocket. Your friends came along and helped you out. But were there jobs that you were applying to, or even had at the time, that you could be like, well, this job helped me in this in that way?
Yes. Um, as I shared it with my community, I believe, the other day, but I've worked 17 jobs since coming to the United States back in 2006. 17 jobs. And so 16 of them were trial error and
Okay,
experience that I have today.
okay,
When you ask what were some of those jobs, I mentioned the hair braiding.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did the cleaning for the school here, right?
Mm-hmm.
After school, I would go clean the school. I did an aid for preschool too. I went when things were tough. I just applied. I went and applied to the hotel and did housekeeping. They hired me right away. I wasn't, and I was going to school this time, right? I did 2 semesters in nursing. That's a whole story. But then I went into technology, right?
Okay.
So I had a vision, I had a dream. No matter how hard times were, yes, I wanted to give up because sometimes it was hard. But no, I was like, giving up won't take me to it.
No, well,
The only
it
time
just
that I will
prolongs
not
it.
get to it is if I stop today.
That's right. It's just gonna
That's when.
prolong it right there.
That's what I did. So I went, applied. I did Walmart. I can just give a mention. I did car manufacturing, a Honda, anything. I just did whatever I could get in, get paid.
Mm,
Take
okay.
those. Now, okay, I have to find a way, save those, save as much as I could. But the thing is, in high school, right? We had this career program, right? Even then, I enrolled in nursing,
Yep.
and then I did 2 semesters, as I just mentioned, right? But
Yep.
I switched because I realized that I didn't like blood. What I'm trying to get at is you have to try it. Try it. If you don't try it, you will not know
Yeah. Yeah. That's
what
important.
you are capable of or what you actually truly want. What
Hmm.
is inside of you, that your potential. That's what I believe in. I believe these 17 jobs is what maximize my potential.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to take all your wins and all your losses. That that those scars on your knees, those scratches on your elbows from falling, are part of the journey.
Hmm.
As immigrants and first generation immigrants, sometimes we don't want to talk about those stories because it's like, again, you got to be vulnerable. You got to put yourself out there. You got to remember a time where it wasn't working. But the answers are out there.
And how do you balance it? I'm here. I am worried
School,
about how to put gas.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to go do any job I could find to make earning. But let's remember that as most of us, most immigrants, still have family back home
True that they support.
that we support.
That is true.
So with
So
all
a
of
dollar
that,
ninety trying to fill up a gas tank and trying to support someone back home.
you still
I
have
don't know if
to
you want. I don't know if you want to split that dollar 90 because by the time you put it through Western Union, that
pay the
dollar 90.
fee.
But again, this is again that financial thing that we were talking about. You're like, how do I send money back home to somebody, right? You got to go to
Yes,
Western Union, but there's a fee to do it. And you're like, oh my gosh, but I don't actually have the
yeah.
extra $10.
This
You know,
is reality, Paul.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
what
yeah. The
I
struggle is
went
real.
through, and so many others went through and are still going through today. If some of my clients, I see it, right? It is still
Yeah,
happening. So it's like I was motivated to reach my passion and reach my dreams once I decided, oh, nursing is not for me. My
okay,
only thing in front of me was technology. That's where I want to break to. That's where I want to get into, right? So I made sure that everything I was doing, determination. It took me 8 years. With all of this happening, a typical is 4 years. It took me 8 years. At six, if the determination and the want and the drive, the motivation is not there, at 6 years, I would have quit. I went two more
yeah,
years until I earned those degrees or reached to where I wanted to get. It's like you just have to know where the balance is. And when they used to call and family, friends, neighbors will
yeah,
call,
yeah,
right? You have to think about it. Okay, I have to save this $100 or that call that is asking for 20, will I give it? Because $20 for us here might not be not much for someone, but it's demon in Sefa that can pay their whole month electricity. So you have to find that
yeah.
balance.
It is. It is a very when you're trying, and as a young adult too. I could. I mean, a parent has a lot of struggles too because they're probably like, I just got to provide. I just got to provide, right? But they're gonna
Mhm.
keep their head down. But as a kid, like you said, people are bullying you, and you're trying to figure something out. Then you become like an adult, and you're like, okay, I finally started, but you don't even have enough money to fill up the gas tank. It's just like one thing after the next, and this is when people actually, struggle with like the mental uh, issues and stress of it all. What kept you sane in this whole process? Like, what were you doing to kind of like, obviously, you mentioned about coaches and mentors and things like that, but like physically, mentally, what were you doing to kind of keep your head in the
Back then, or to get through those, just the shock of, I would say it's mentally, it's emotionally, it's physical. It's all three of them. When the finances are the way they were for me, it can be all of it. Emotionally, physically, it can just ruin all the visions and the dreams you had, right? So
game?
because simply moving to a different country, and I noticed like everyone is swiping cards. That was another thing that was like, what's happening? All we knew was
Yeah,
cash, right?
yeah, that's right. Come on, come on.
I went to the store and everyone was swiping
Yeah, the debit cards
cards.
every day. I mean, you was in New York too, so you was in the belly of the beast where even Metro cards are swiping.
I didn't know that. It
Like,
was not something I
like
was
everything is
used
on a
to
card.
or
Yeah,
familiar with. So the financial stress started with just seeing things that were different, right? I think I was there. The challenges, financial challenges, I was there before. I feel that it destroys the best of you, right?
okay.
When you talk about how it affects, that's what I believe, right? Back then, you are irritated easily. I couldn't work out, right? I you can't eat healthy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Because
can
you
see
have
that.
to worry about all of these things. But I'll tell you, I'll get to it. But the great things are once I was able to figure it out, of course, with the help. from God and everything. It's like the first 3 months after I was finally financially stable,
Yep.
first 3 months,
Yep.
I was done. Like this is when I knew I was like, oh, okay, now if I'm there. When I was done overdrafting my banks
Overdraft fees are
or
real.
no longer having to log in to my bank account every minute to check my balance or see if the electric bill was returned or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
that's the
that weight. Yeah,
that weight. That weight
yeah,
was on you. So 3 months after I wasn't doing any of that and I realized, oh, okay, I might be at a better place today. I lost 40 pounds of overweight that I had. 40. It's that when you, again, your question, it takes so much from you that it is worth getting that financial knowledge, asking those questions, willing to accept help
yeah,
and take
yeah.
help by listening, as you said earlier.
You you hitting some gems right now. You really are, really are. And I appreciate you for diving in and really like giving that insight because it's important. You know that again on this platform, our goal is just to share those kind of things that someone could walk away from these podcasts and be like, you know what, I have a blueprint. I'm not saying I have the game plan, but I have a blueprint, and that blueprint can actually help me out. Um, brings me to my next topic. This blueprint the business. See, you out here, the founder of Dad Financial Pathways, right? That's big. I know you obviously you have other businesses and ventures that you do as well too, but this is a very big one for you. Talk to me a little bit about that. Let the listeners know a little bit more about this pathway.
Yes, for that financial pathway, what I do there is, as I mentioned earlier, it's a passion for me to help those immigrant mothers who are going through everything I went through with their finances, with their careers. So I am on LinkedIn, um, putting awareness, sharing those immigrant experiences that I went through and how I was able to navigate through them, solutioning. Um, I talked about community and people are everything.
Yeah,
I call it the people. People will change your life. It's so that financial pathway is there. So I have these clients that I help. It's not only finances, but even navigating through careers, right? They came here or they've been here,
yeah,
but they just do not understand or know how to make the next promotion
true.
or how to switch. They are in nursing, they want technology, they do not know that they can go make this certificate or they can do this boot camp. That's what that financial showing them, showing
Mm-hmm.
maximum of immigrants that I can so that they don't go through the same hurdles that I did.
And then if they do go through the same hurdles, that's when the people say, well, they're they're from Senegal, they're Haitian, they're Jamaican, right? They start labeling the people because they're like, oh, you just don't know about that? Oh, it must be every Jamaican, it must be every St. Lucian, it must be
Uh,
every Haitian.
Stereotype.
So we as immigrants, it's first or second generation immigrants, we have to take an initiative to want to be better, so that we don't create um, a stigma around us not being um, competent of
Mhm.
all the things that are happening. So I'm glad that you're out there doing that, helping, because that's probably one of the first places I feel like if you're, you know,
Mhm.
moving to a different place. I think yes, of course, you got to find the right housing, but once you get the house or the apartment, wherever it is, you got to start figuring out how to navigate this environment. And one of the
Mhm.
biggest ways to have to navigate is financially because you're probably there with a family. You got to support the family. You have, like you said, light, gas, like all the things you probably didn't have at first as a child. Now you're walking in at 14, 15. You're like, I got to start taking care of these bills.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a coach, like you said, you didn't have a coach, you didn't have someone, you just had a mom, but she wasn't giving you a blueprint. She was like, "Baby, I'm gonna take care of this. You got to find your own way," and you
Yes,
did, did,
absolutely. That's
did.
true. You have
Um,
to find your own way. That is the thing. You have to find your own way. And it is up to us. It is up to you how you find that own way. And I always talk about it, Paul. I'm like, not because I found my mom here, I have to do exactly. I have my own path.
yeah.
You have your own path. Not only because we have a tendency of that, and it's so hard to get out of the following, right? Because you are doing this or you live here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna live here. Get your own, get the help, because once you have the help and the knowledge,
Oh,
everything becomes more clear.
yeah. And you see how there is a gap.
Mhm,
You get to see that gap. You see, like, okay, I'm actually like 5 steps back, or you get to see
mhm,
like I'm actually 1 step back. It's not that bad. I'm out here complaining about all this stuff when I'm actually just 1 step back. Now that I notice, now I can actually put myself at the table. But again, you just
mhm.
got to be in that room. What advice would you give to like a newcomer who's just arriving, feeling like lost about money, credit scores, pulling in funding for a new business, career paths? Like, what would you say to them?
Newcomer or someone who's already here and been here and trying, still trying, I would tell both of them the same. As immigrants, right? My advice is it's important that we keep our culture. Your culture is what makes you unique. That is what
Yeah,
makes you different, right? And then keep your faith. For me, these two are so major.
culture and faith.
Culture and faith will lead you through everything that your path is that you have to go through. And I've been mentioning, right? Be willing to acquire knowledge and accept help. This is my
Exactly.
motto. This is how I got through it. This is how I'm helping my clients get through it.
I like that.
Your culture, keep your faith, be willing to acquire knowledge and accept help. Again, because someone out there went through what you are going through. And it's like, I feel
That's
like
right.
it's important,
You're not the
right?
first. You're
We
not the
all think
first.
we are, it's only us. It's only
Yes, yes, yes. That is it. That is it right there. It's only me. I'm
it's
the
only
only one
me.
going through the struggle. Yeah,
Only
you're right.
me.
We're not saying you're right. It's you. It's your physical body. So yes, you do feel like you're alone and you're going through this. But trust when I say at this present time in the world has so many people. There's another person out there that's saying the same exact thing in the same exact situation. You just don't know it because you're just worried about your own thing, which
Yeah.
you should be. But know
Yes.
that there's other people going through. So I get you keeping that culture, keeping that faith, because a lot of the culture is very vibrant and believing in something higher than you is very important, right?
Very, very
You,
important.
you're
And
falling.
and putting yourself outside of your comfort zone, Paul. Go
Mm,
outside of your comfort zone a little bit and then see how things will start changing and moving.
mm. What do you think was like one of the
Mhm.
financial habits that you adapted to kind of help you build um, your business or kind of build yourself like your stability within the U.S.?
Oh, yeah, put it in one word.
Is it reading? Is it I mean, obviously, education was something you could say, but was there a habit?
I wouldn't call is it it wouldn't call it a habit. It's the ability and acceptance of knowing that to get into a better financial state requires risk. It's hard for us to
Mhm.
come into the country because we are so protective
Yeah,
over everything we are working on, making our life, the opportunities that are here, that we forget that it requires risk. I had to take
yeah,
risk. When I had those $1,000, I had to take the risk and buy some stocks with it. It was a risk because I was like, oh, am I going to take that and just pay another bill? Or, oh, well, it's time that I make my life better. And I
Yeah,
had to take that risk or take another risk of purchasing cars, renting, just doing it.
yeah,
For
no, you're
me,
right.
habits, the strategy is know that you have to take some type of risk and make some type of sacrifice
I give you that. I give you
to
that.
get
I give you
to a
that.
better place.
Sure. I just want to say thank you. Thank
Mm.
you, thank you, thank you for just again taking the time to just be here with us, be present. I feel like, when we have any of our thought leaders that come on and talk about like financial literacy, I think
Mhm.
that that is something that resonates with a lot of our listeners because that is a very big, massive component. Massive. Because finance is not saying money is everything, but money is a tool if used the right way. And
Yes.
if you know how to make money, if you know how to flip money, if you know how to generate more money, it can help out you in tremendous different ways. So I'm glad that you're open to sharing that journey because
Thank
sometimes
you.
people make it in their life. They're like, I'm not sharing anything. I'm only going to share with this selective group, my kids, right? I'm gonna share with
That's
my dad, my auntie, my uncle. But you're like, I'm gonna share with the world. So I commend you, Dior, for just being on our show, and I just want to say thank you again for just being present and just giving
it.
us the insight that we need.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here and sharing with the world, as you said, and that hope someone out there will take something away from it and make it better into their life.
Well, I know I
So
did.
thank you, Paul.
Yes, yes. And I want to let the listeners know if you want to hear more inspirational stories like your, please check us out on ZakaConnect.com. Follow our social at Zaka Connect and follow our feed Zaka wherever you listen to your podcasts.